What's up, guys? In this video, I want to cover the three most common nutrition downfalls that we see with our one-to-one coaching clients. My name is Bo Murley, and I'm the CEO of Bo Murley Fitness. And for the last 7+ years, we've coached over 3,000 busy, professional, career-driven women within our coaching program. So after working with 3,000 plus individuals one-to-one over almost the last decade, we've seen some things. And these are the most common mistakes that we see clients make when we start to oversee their nutrition day to day in the first couple weeks that they join our program. A lot of people or a lot of clients that we work with sometimes aren't even aware of these issues, which the point of this video is for you to pause and think if, is this something that you're doing so you can become aware and potentially correct it? And some of our clients come in and they know these are issues, and that's why they need accountability and support around them. But the first one is not consuming enough protein. This is probably 80-90% of women when they come into our program. We notice in the first couple of weeks that they're significantly low as far as protein intake goes. And protein intake is one of those things that unless you have a game plan, you're consciously aware and you kind of plan out your protein for the day, there's a very, very high likelihood that you're going to come up short. Like for me personally, at this point in time, like I don't track macros anymore. I don't track my food. I pretty much in my head track my protein. So it is very something that even to this day, after doing this for years upon years, in my head, I'm very aware and conscious of my protein intake. And I'm trying to get about 1 gram per pound of body weight, which puts me at about 190 to 200 grams per day. But obviously protein is important for two reasons. We really emphasize resistance training with the women that we work with. It's awesome to feel strong. It's awesome to feel like you're building lean muscle, and protein is going to help you do that. So you build strength, you build lean muscle. No woman that we work with wants to be frail and fragile when she's 60 and 70 years old and can't carry her own groceries in, right? So protein is very important for that. But secondly, a lot of women that we work with want to lose weight. They want to lose body fat. They want to look better physically, right? And what do they usually struggle with? Oftentimes, with snacking, binge eating, sugar cravings, and things like that. Protein is going to help keep you full and eliminate some of those urges that you have if you get on a very consistent protein schedule. We recommend our clients have protein with every meal or snack and become very aware of that and kind of set that habit and behavior in place. But what you'll notice is if you're getting consistent amount of protein in it, every 3 or 4 hours throughout the day, it's going to eliminate some of that snacking, and you're not going to fly home at 4, 5, 6 o'clock and want to rummage the fridge and cupboards to see what goodies you can find. So it really helps with that. The second thing that we see is really consistent eating. We'll see women who will starve themselves for 2 days and they go way overboard. They'll starve themselves and then they'll go overboard. We see that a lot. We see a lot of clients, like some days they'll eat breakfast, first thing in the morning at 6:30. Then the next day it's at like 9 a.m. And then they'll have lunch at one day at 11:30. Then they'll have lunch at 2. Your body is really, really smart, and trying to be as consistent as possible with your eating schedule helps so much, because when you're going to be hungry, like when cravings might come, and your body really adapts and it becomes a machine if you can stay consistent with your eating schedule. Like if you happen to eat a late lunch one day and then you skip breakfast, then you eat an early lunch, come 4 or 5 o'clock when you go home, you might be absolutely starving because you basically ate one meal in 14, 15 hours potentially. And then you tend to overdo dinner, or your hunger the rest of the evening is really, really bad, and you give into it, right? So really something a lot of people don't think about is not only, they think so much about like what you eat and all this sort of thing, but like meal timing and being as consistent as you possibly can with your eating schedule is really, really important. Now, understand that that's easier said than done. We have women that are, CEOs and high-level executives. They travel all the time and things. So it's not something that you can always control. And we obviously understand that when we work with our clients. But again, when we do focus on what you can control, if you can get into some type of consistent eating schedule, you'll notice like your body really adapts to that. You're hungry around the same times, which is a really, really good thing. This is, as an aside, this is why I'm a big advocate of trying to wake up and go to bed around the same time every single single day. Now, again, if you're watching this, yes, we have clients who are, overnight nurses and their sleep schedules all over the place. Again, I know this isn't realistic for maybe 5% of people watching this, but for a lot of women that we work with where they do have, kind of a consistent schedule, or they can control it more than others. If you go to bed and wake up at the same time, yes, even weekends, your body becomes, very smart. And when it's hungry and such, right? Because again, it's like, you usually go to bed at 10 p.m., 10 p.m. during the week. And then on the Saturday night, you stay up until 1 or 2 a.m. You wake up, at 11 a.m. because you slept in because you were up, till 1 or 2. And then, you have lunch. Like, it just really throws off. And as you get older, it's kind of like alcohol. The 2-day hangover is real. Like when we see clients that stay up way late on the weekend because they had a wedding or something going on, we can typically kind of see that lingering effect for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It takes them a couple days for their body to kind of adjust to their eating schedule being all over the place. So that's all I'll say there. But again, oftentimes with new clients, we see a lot of inconsistency in their eating when they're eating day to day, which again isn't ideal if you're trying to like build a well-oiled machine. The last thing is not being aware of calories and like bites and nibbles and snacks. This is huge, especially for, some women that we work with, might be small in stature. They might not have a lot of weight to lose. They might be, you take a woman who's 5'2", 5'3", 120, 130, 140 pounds. If she goes to the kitchen and grabs a handful of trail mix, or she grabs some nuts, or whatever the case may be as far as a snack goes, maybe a little bag of chips. Well, something like trail mix is very calorically dense. So grabbing a handful of it, or like, even half a cup, could be 200, 300, 400 calories. That's a lot of calories in just one snack that's mindless eating that can cause you to not realize that you're no longer in a deficit, you're in a surplus, and this is why you're not losing weight. It's sugary drinks. A lot of people don't recognize the drinks that they're having. Alcohol being one of them. They don't understand the calories in that. Coffee creamers and things like that. It's only 70 calories, but like, how often are you actually pouring 70 calories of coffee creamer? Like, I know you probably pour it for like a 2 or 3 count. It's probably 150, 200 calories that you're just putting in your coffee every morning. Maybe you have 2 cups of coffee. Boom, right there. That's 400 calories that you're not accounting for. And you think like, oh my gosh, I'm doing everything right. I'm in a deficit. Well, are you accounting for those extra 300-400 calories you're getting a day in coffee creamer that you might not realize, right? Like, we see these types of things. This is real. So not realizing the calories and what they're consuming mindlessly when they go to the kitchen, or you're at work and you go to the break room or whatever, you grab something here and there, you grab this, you grab that, you don't really account for it. And it's sometimes those little things that you're doing that are causing you to not be in a caloric deficit, but you're going overboard. So I just wanted to share those 3 things and give you something to think about. Think about your day to day, your week to week. Maybe you're here trying to look amazing. You're here to drop weight, feel better. And I can promise you're probably not perfect in any of those areas. So as you sit here and reflect, like, look, you should be getting probably 0.6, 0.7, 0.8 grams of protein per day per pound of body weight. So think about your day to day, and if you're getting that in. So are you consuming enough protein? Are you consistent with your eating schedule? Do you tend to eat around the same time every single day? If not, I would work really hard on that. And it starts and ends with sleep. Are you waking up and going to bed at the same time? So if you're doing that, you'll find that your body kind of comes into sync when it's hungry and when you eat your meals, if you can control that aspect of your life. The third is like, are you accounting for the little nibbles here, the coffee creamers, the beverages with sugar, alcohol? Are you accounting for those things? Like, we've had women come in who are like in a deficit 5 or 6 days a week, and then they'll have like 6 or 7 drinks on a weekend. Summer they're on a boat, whatever. They'll have 7, 8 high noons or whatever, and it's averages, right? And if you have like a really bad Saturday where you don't eat the best food, and you also add 8 to 900 to 150 calorie alcoholic drinks on top of it, it's no bueno, and you're probably not going to be in a deficit any longer. So hopefully that helps. It gives you something to think about. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.